In the ever-evolving landscape of the music industry, it seems like artists are always trying to find a new strategy to get their music heard. One strategy that's been gaining a lot of traction is the waterfall release strategy, specifically on Spotify. Now, I talked about it recently in my Spotify release strategy for 2024 video, but essentially what the waterfall release strategy is, it's when you release singles individually over time, but each new release includes the previous release, and then over time it evolves into like an EP or an album or something like that. There's tons of reasons why I think this strategy is super smart, but your boy has actually put it into work, and I want to show you the actual stats and actual results I've gotten from it. And then by the end of the video, you can make up your mind whether or not you think you want to try it or not. If you're new to the channel, I'm L.Dre. I make chill beats for a living. I have around 800,000 monthly listeners right now on Spotify, and I've been doing this for a while. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first artist that came to mind with this waterfall release strategy that I've seen do it well is Yachty. So real quick, let's head over to his Spotify and then you can actually see, because you might be familiar with him. A long time ago, you may have remembered he released Strike, Holster. Perky got me do it like a holster. You know the song probably, but check it out. Here it is. So recently he just dropped a new song called Something Ether. So now that's what this whole thing is about. But as you can see, Holster was a huge single. Then he dropped Solo Steppin', Creep Boy. So boom, he dropped that, but I'm assuming he dropped those together. Same thing, he dropped Tesla. I actually never even listened to that song, but it's in the same thing. Secret Recipe with J. Cole, A Cold Sunday, and his newest songs. All these songs are now in an EP, but you never heard Lil Yachty come out and say, hey, check out my new EP. No, he just releases his new songs as a part of this EP. That's what he's been doing lately. And he's on such a large scale, I'm sure it's working wonders for him, but you can't really tell, right? So for me, I'm gonna show you my actual Spotify analytics on a much smaller scale. The most recent song I dropped as part of this is Round and Round. As you can see, I'm also releasing it on vinyl. Pre-orders start now and they're only available for 2 weeks, so hit the link in the description, but more on that later. But let's get into the actual analytics of it. So boom, Round and Round. In total, all-time streams, 193,000 streams. You probably look at my monthly listeners and you probably think, oh, that seems pretty low, but in reality, this is how most of my original stuff performs unless I do something on social media that goes viral. This is just like the bare minimum. I probably only posted about it one time. No editorial playlist, no support, nothing. This is just what Spotify gives me from being into the release radar. And like obviously my fans listening, all that kind of stuff. Look at these spikes. Obviously the spikes are quite obvious when you look at it from this format, but let's go dive into the first song. The first song I dropped was L.D. I dropped it September 22nd. It currently has 66,000 streams. We'll get more into the details in a second, but I just want to briefly show you each track. Yeah, currently has 57,000 streams. That's September 29th. Break Time has 32,000 streams. That's January 12th. So like a few months later. KO, 24,000 streams. That's January 19th. So I released that like 2 weeks after. And then Round Around, the most recent one, 13,000 streams. That was March 1st. So that was like a few weeks ago. So now you know the dates, right? So check it out. Let's go back to LD. This is when it dropped. Obviously in the first day, 2,000 streams, whatever. It trickles down a bit, and then I believe around here, September 29th. So I guess this was the natural curve. Then September 29th, I dropped, yeah. So you can see there was a bit of a spike, but it was already on a down spiral. So let's ignore that for now. But let's head over all the way to this. This is the daily average right here. I'm talking 190 to 200 streams on the daily basis. But then boom, I dropped a new track, January 12th. That is when Break Time came out. And as you can see, boom, a spike. So it went from averaging 200 streams a day to now it just got 600. For the next couple days, it was hovering around 500 to 600. And then it slowly started to go back to its normal curve. And then as you can see here, around January 19th, when the next track, 600. Regular curve, as you can see here, around March 1st, it didn't really have too much of a spike. So it's slowly going lower and lower, but that leads me to believe that it's also because it's the last track. You know, on albums, the last track is usually gets the least amount of love. So let's look at the other tracks and see if those spike. So let's look at, yeah, similar vibes. Boom, came out, 2,000 streams, died down, boom. January 12th, spike. Much bigger spike, actually. If you notice, the last spike for LD, 647 streams, but for Yeah, since it was the very next song, 700 streams. And then January 19th comes along, it still stays high, but then boom, drop off. March 1st, tiny little spike, nothing crazy. All right, let's go to Break Time, because this is when the spike started. So boom, first day, 2,000 streams. At least I know now, like looking at this, 2,000 streams, first 24 hours is usually the vibe. January 19th, nothing. I don't really know how to account for that. But scroll over, March 1st, tiny little bump. And then that Monday, a higher bump. I don't know what was going on March 1st, but it wasn't a good release day for me. But look, Monday, it brings it back up. I've noticed I get a lot less streams on the weekends as well, so maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, so there is a spike around March 1st when I dropped that last song. And then yeah, same thing with KO, first day, 2,000 streams, died down, little spike with a hump on Tuesday. There is a spike from the next track. And then lastly, Round and Round. See, I guess this one, either this beat isn't it, people didn't care, or I didn't promote it enough, I don't know. But this is the only one out of all of them to not even get 2,000 streams on the first day. So that explains why there's not a crazy spike for the rest of them. But yeah, so that's like the nitty gritty of it. And just to double down, like if you look at the playlist, it's just like my own playlist. I didn't get into any big playlist for any of these, but as you can see, Release Radar, 5,000 stream. KO2, let's check this one out. Release Radar, 6,000. This is L.Dre, 1,000. I made a new playlist all for this too, by the way. J Dilla Lo-Fi Vibes. That got its initial 1,000 streams from that. Go all the way back to LD, since that one has the most streams. And boom, so radio, it's getting some streams in radios, which is great. Release Radar, 5,000, L.Dre, 4,000, and then all my own playlists again. So like I said, no editorials, just straight vibes. Based on all that data, the waterfall method definitely works. But the key thing I want to mention with this strategy is it works especially well if you are promoting it heavily outside of Spotify. So doing content, like multiple pieces of content per song, really doing whatever you can. And like I said, I also made a playlist that's completely themed around this, promoting that playlist on days that I don't feel like promoting the song. I'm literally doing all that. So once that new attention comes in, it's go time, they're clicking it, and then they're going to the rest of the song. Now here's some shortcomings of this strategy, because it's not all peaches and cream, you know what I'm saying? It's not guaranteed. Like I said, you kind of have to be promoting heavily outside of it, but also you gotta have good artwork for all your tracks. Now, that's just me. You can feel the same way, but if you're just dropping an album, you just gotta pay for one really good artwork, and there you go. But for me personally, I'm really particular about how my artwork is. So each song, I paid for artwork individually. That's about 5 songs, and if you're using a good artist, those 5 different covers could cost you like upwards of $1,000 easy. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I mean, obviously there's tons of different ways to finesse artwork, but I'm not gonna lie, like AI artwork, I don't like it. It's not there yet, at least from what I've seen. Maybe there's some really good AI artwork where I don't even know that it's AI. You can usually tell when something's AI, and it's kind of buns, bro, if I'm being honest. You can always do the unsplash method and go get some copyright-free photos and just maybe stick to some kind of theme or something like that. And the other thing to think about is just like, if it takes too long. I'm fine with it, but I definitely have been feeling a little bit of an itch to just drop the rest of the songs right away, especially now that I have most of them finished. So part of me is kind of wondering, when the full album is out, like, are people gonna care since I milked it so much with the singles, you know what I'm saying? So that's another concern that I'll maybe make a follow-up video when the actual album is out. But let's move on to the rest of my strategy, which I think is actually really cool. So as you see, I only have 5 tracks, but I did another 5 tracks already that are just waiting to be released, and I was trying to figure out how I should do it. I told myself this year I want to release 1 vinyl every quarter. This is the last month of the quarter. Actually, it's the last week of the quarter. So I was like, okay, since I'm doing this waterfall release strategy, I could just get some really dope artwork ready for an album, start pre-orders, and by the time pre-orders are finished and I have to actually take all the songs to the record company and get everything together, I'll have the songs finished. Plus, I thought, wouldn't it be even more cool if I continue to still do the waterfall release strategy with the rest of the songs, so each song gets its own like love and attention, which is another big plus of this strategy. But what I could do as an incentive for people to buy the vinyl, when the pre-order window is closed, they'll get the full album digital download to their email. So they're able to listen to all the songs before anybody else and before like it's fully released. Because if I have, let's say I already dropped 5 songs, I think I want to have 12 songs on the album. So that's 7 more songs. So if I release 1 every week, that's 7 weeks. Do I want to do that? I don't even know. But I guess, you know what's cool about that, and now I'm just thinking out loud with you guys, What's cool about that is vinyl takes like 6 to 8 weeks to even produce and ship. So maybe that is kind of a good idea to release one new song from it, and so people are still thinking about it. And then by the time the album is fully out, maybe the records are shipping. Stay tuned. But if you want to grab a vinyl and support your boy, the link is in the description. The album is called Lo-Fi Champloo. It's inspired by J Dilla, Nujabes, and Samurai Champloo. At first it was just all J Dilla vibes, but then I watched Samurai Champloo and I'm like, damn, this is so fire, and that would be a sick concept. So there's a lot of Nujabes vibes on there as well. There's a standard edition and there's also a signed edition if you just really want to support your boy and you do have the funds for it. I greatly appreciate it. Pre-order window closes April 12th, so as of right now you probably have like 2 weeks, and then after that they're gone. Super limited release. So yeah, I will keep you guys updated on that part of the strategy because it is something different that I don't know if anybody's done before. And I'll also leave the link to a free PDF that I made that just like shows you exactly how to do the waterfall release strategy, at least within DistroKid. There are some specifics you need to do to make sure the streams stay and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's it for me. I hope this is helpful. I'm Mateo. Don't let anybody tell you what you can or cannot be. Yep, I'm bringing that back. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.